want freedom for. They say they are converted terrorists. They said they go through school and they swore that they will not do terrorism again. So the question I ask is, we are releasing these terrorists, but these are the same terrorists that are killing our major generals, former major generals in the army. These are the same terrorists that are killing General Musa. Make it make sense. What is the threshold for accountability of these terrorists, the so-called repentant terrorists? I once asked a military officer that, how do we ensure that these so-called repentant terrorists do not even go back and hurt people again? But every time, we still have them hurt people. There's no accountability threshold before these repentant terrorists are released back into society. And that's why I ask, what is a life worth? What is the worth of a life? Is it worth $1 million? Is it worth ransom penny? Is it worth 1,000? Can you quantify what a life is worth? Why we are saying all of this, when people came out to protest, some people still use counter-protesters to say the leaders are doing well, that people have no right to protest, that there's insecurity. So when you look at it, what is a life really worth? Those that came out to protest that there's no insecurity, that were harassing great minds like the likes of Femi Falana, do they truly believe in what they say? Or they're doing it because of their own interests? When are we going to be able to collectively speak against the killings and how life is now becoming so cheap in our country, and speaking truth to power? And that's what I'm asking today. What is the true worth of life? What's the true worth of life? Today, for over 20-something days now, we have children in the bush. We are not even talking about their release again. We're not even talking about the pain they are going through again. We have long passed that one now. What will be the lot of those kids? If it was the kids of the high and mighty that are there, is this how they are going to treat them? So I ask again, what is life worth? Is it worth a penny? Is it even worth the spelling of the word life? These are the questions I want to ask. Because you see, if we live in a society where life is worth nothing, very soon it will come back to affect all of us. Very soon we'll be the beneficiaries of the evil we fail to condemn. The number to call us up is 0907-651-1008. and 0818-099-1991. 0907-651-1008. But someone is going to be very shocked today. And it's going to be in honor of General Rabi. So what is life worth? Is it really worth anything? And how can we make life worth something? In a country where lives are just abused, and lives are treated like they don't matter. So what is a life worth? And may God help us as we start to think about it. And we'll try to unravel it. The government says they made some strides as regards insecurity. That's their narrative. But there's something called a general perception. When people still have a general perception that they are not safe, then society is not any better. Look at the general that was taken into the bush. His wife is still there. While the man has died in captivity. So I ask again, what is the worth of life? Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning, Rufai on fire.
Morning, sir. Bless you. What's your name?
Manjem calling from Abuja.
Manjem, what is the worth of life? A major general, former major general, killed in kidnappers then. What is the worth of life do we have?
I can't even just imagine what happened in the United States when the United States and Iran, during the course of their war, that an airman fell where the Iranian attacked, they attacked their aircraft. Do you just imagine how much United States is spent to rescue their Air Force man from the hands of the enemy? What caused the Nigerian government to be sent? Just imagine a major general being in the captivity of a bandit in a country that has all the necessary facilities. Just look at the news, what Christopher Musa was saying, that because of Ukraine and the Russian war, United States and Iran war was the reason they could not, acquire to buy some weapons. Can you imagine that? I think all other countries in the world that manufacture weapons. You can imagine. I have empathy for that Major General because I was watching the video on the social media that they even made an addition that the man has a maybe probably there was a snake bite, and which I disagree. Along the line, they now bring confirmation that the man was diabetic because he was not getting proper medication. And the Major General in the army just died like that. So, the evil we refuse to condemn today.
It will come and haunt us. And that's why on Impact we were asking the question. You asked, let me tell you, the US rescue mission to recover a stranded airman cost between $300 million and $500 million. And I will break it down for you, Manjan.
Yes.
The US reportedly destroyed multiple aircraft during the mission to prevent them from being captured. MC-13OJ aircraft cost more than $100 million. Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps also aimed that the 2 additional black aircrafts were destroyed by small arm fire. The rescue became a race against time. The airman was tracked in a remote mountainous region by F-15E Strike Eagle, was shot down. And the high complex extraction required dozens of warplanes. America spent $500 million. I know, yes, we can't compare ourselves with America because if our defense budget is $2 billion and America spent 1/4 of our defense budgets just on one mission, I know we can't compare.
That's true.
But how did we react? What did we do to cushion the effects? What did we do to save the life of these great patriots? Manjem, that's our country for you.
So with all this thing going on, how are they encouraging people to vote or volunteer to, to join the military or to join any of the, security agencies in this country? Once they are not encouraged and life is not, there is no assurance of, giving them a welfare, support. In terms of, it's not encouraging, sir.
It's a sad one.
But I believe when we Nigerians we are sensitive to understand the reality and embrace two governments by working together, unity to say we should put a stop to people in this country. I don't think, because I always encourage anybody that I encounter or maybe in the course of our discussion, they say we should be praying to God. What do you expect God to do? Do you expect God to send this? We really want to fight to secure our destiny ourselves. We have all the resources. Look at what Greg not posted in one of our kids when I read it. He said, as rich as Nigeria with all the oil facilities they have, so they don't have electricity. Just imagine that. So, please God see us through, my brother.
It is well. It is well, Manjem. We'll keep doing our own for humanity. Thank you. Thank you, Manjem. And thank you for all your good work. Yeah. So you can see the society we live in. Sorry, I think we just had a disconnection. I'll try to sort out our TikTok family because TikTok family just got disconnected. Just 1 minute, please. I'll try to sort out TikTok family. Let me see if I can get another operations to sort out TikTok family, please. These are some of the things we do just to ensure everybody is connected. The phone just went off for the TikTok family. You know, when you multiple operations like this. So we're trying to sort them out. Let's see how this goes. Hello, how are you? Hello, how are you? Morning, great to have you. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Udoka. I'm calling from
Udoka, speak up, please. Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm a little bit down.
Oh, so sorry.
I want to thank you for the good work you're doing, for being the voice of the voiceless. Very few people are like you in this country.
That's you.
And for making us know what's going on. Hello?
Yes. I'm with you, Udoka.
For making us know what's going on in the country. It's so there in how we find ourselves in this situation in this country, but it's God that will put everything to. I'm sure that one day this country will be delivered.
Amen.
If we have few people like you, if we have 10 people like you in this country, we know that there'll be a lot of good forwardness for this country. There'll be a lot of you're giving the society an eye opener of what's going on in the country.
Thank you.
And God bless you so much.
Bless you, Udoka. And God strengthen you. It is well with you. God strengthen you.
I know that those children will be out.
Amen. Oh, we pray so. Amen.
I know you know we're talking.
Yeah.
You cannot remember.
Yeah.
I know you know we're talking.
Bless you. Bless you, Udoka. God bless you.
Thank you.
God bless you. So, what's the word of life? I mean, a general, former major, a former spokesperson of the army, not just a small person. Hello, how are you?
Morning, Mr. Alabama.
Morning, great to have you. What's your name?
This is Maria from Preston Town in Lagos.
Great to have you, my brother.
Yeah. Thank you for the good work you're doing.
God bless you. Amen.
You see, like we said earlier, when we condone the evil, like around us, when we look at these things and share and do as if it doesn't matter. That is really the reality. I remember this when he saw the rest in peace, when he was a spokesperson under Buhari, was telling us how Boko Haram had been decimated. He was coming out every day telling us, and these things were not the truth. So now look at this thing. This thing has happened to him. Look at the general, a full general just wasted like that, just because people didn't do what they were to do. So it should be an eye opener, like you said. What is this like? What the people who are currently in power know that there is no champion forever. No champion forever. These people who are adding budget, who are telling us this and that, how they spend for something billion naira, and all this. One day, there's nothing as good as somebody should make his way straight. Just do what you're supposed to do, the right thing, and leave the rest for God. It's so unfortunate that we are in this captivity. This is just Nigeria. I'm sorry to say, Nigeria has become a failed state. Even people in Lagos here, people are indigenous here.
Yeah.
People traveling to Ibadan, even from everybody living within Lagos. So it's so unfortunate. And let God just touch this president, because this thing is beyond this administration. Let the current president just, if you take a power and go, this thing, because the more this thing is extending, we don't know, nobody knows the next target. So let's just pray that God will touch him, because I don't think he doesn't have the capacity to be told. He doesn't have the capacity to fight this shit with. And it's potential great danger to all of us. Thank you. Have a blessed Sunday.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. What's the word of life? 0907 651 1008. 0907 651 1008. 0907 651 1008. What's the word of life? Facebook family, don't worry. We're going to come back and see how we can join you guys back. And we're having issues this morning with sustenance of what we're doing here, but we'll keep fighting. That's what the fight. Hello, how are you?
Very fine, Mr. Rufai.
Great to have you.
Thank you. This is Barnabas calling from Africa.
Great to have you, Barnabas.
Yeah, thank you. I thank you for the great job you are doing.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Very excellent task. God continue to empower you. Give you more wisdom to speak out for the people of Nigeria. So unfortunate. All what we are discussing is boil down to poor leadership background. As we speak today, our leaders worry. They are not worried. When we have poor leadership, they will always provide poor results. Poor leadership will always lead to poor results. One of the presidential candidates have always said, the process that brought a man to the office is more important than the office they come to occupy. If you watch in Nigeria today, no local government is functioning. Reason. All the state governors are taking over the responsibility of local government chairmen. Not in terms of providing infrastructure. In terms of taking care of the monthly or allocation that comes to them. They don't allow them to function. What is it resulting to? It results in non-provision of any social amenities in the local government. Most of the local government today is it only in there. When it comes to security, this is a country where we provide what they call security fund to state governors. This money are not. Hello?
I was you.
These monies are not accounted for. Then what are we waiting for? God cannot come down from heaven to do these things for us. It shows that we are failing in standard, in production, in everything. So, as we speak today, the security issue is now to in the concern. So, nobody is doing anything about it. The ruling party believes that if you are telling them the truth, you are working against their interests. They are not looking at national interest. Personal gain, the office they are coming to occupy. It is a problem. That is why it is taking almost 20 years now for us to continue to talk about insecurity.
And that's true.
Meanwhile, the bad guys operate in our territory. And the boasting of any country is their ability to protect their own territory. Otherwise, we don't have a country if we cannot protect our own territory. Protecting life and property in a particular geographical area. Now, the terrorists are the ones detecting nearly 20 years. And we have presidents, we have governors, we have local government chairmen, we have defense minister, we have generals here and there. And when they are sleeping, they are not bothered that this is a country I am called to serve. And this is what is happening in it. We can't get people until people decide to serve patriotically and take Nigeria as their country and not just political party interest. The moment our leaders in power take the country as their own, I believe that nothing like the bandits, nothing like the Boko Haram, nothing like terrorists, as far as they are reducing in our territory, that they don't appear and disappear to another territory where we can reach them. As far as they are in this particular geographical area called Nigeria, we can fight them if our leaders are rich. It is not a rocket science. They are here. We can marshal out every necessary strategy. Like you have noted what happened in Iran as America, moving. In this place, nobody is discussing how to win moving. We only talk about it, negotiating, don't work life. On the board of life, we see the way. So, my brother,
it is well.
Continue to do what you are doing.
It is well. We'll keep talking about it.
Praise you, even if you are not hearing our voice.
We'll keep talking about it. Thank you so much. I mean, bless you so much. A general killed. Today we are dedicating the show to General Rabi. Yes, a lot of people have said, Rufai, why are you even dedicating the show to General Rabi? Maybe when he was in power, he keeps saying we've decimated Boko Haram and all of that. As far as I'm concerned, for me, it's a Nigerian first. It's a Nigerian first. Sorry, we are trying to sort out the Facebook family people. Just wait 1 minute. Because we have a lot of family. Sorry, I'm juggling between many things, juggling between power banks, just to ensure that we get the show on. Just to be able to bring the show your way. Since we don't have multiple cameras now, and I've not been able to develop a proper home studio for the show, at least we'll make do with what we have now. It's okay, Facebook, we're back on. Thank God for that. We'll push all of. Hello, how are you? Yeah.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
Yeah. Morning.
My name is Kendi from Ogun State.
Great job. Where in Ogun State, Kendi? That's my state.
That's Ogijo.
Eh?
Ogijo.
Ogijo. Ah, okay. Yeah, Shagam here now. Ogijo.
Yes.
Go ahead, my brother.
Thank you for this thought. And then, for me, the purpose of life itself is not about the words, it's not about the things we just are going around. So, for me, the impact someone makes in life and then the kind someone gets us one is able to meet. So, from one of the presidential candidates, he said a word which really put so much in my head that the poor leadership we have in Nigeria citizens allow it. And I agree with it.
Yes.
Because a lot of things that's happening in our society for today,
Yes.
the corruption, a lot of things that happen, you will realize that we citizens, we are complicit to allow these people to succeed in it.
Yes.
So for me, the mindset of the citizen has to be able to change for us to be able to have a good leader. So I think the major thing now is how do we change our mindset?
And that's why you see what I'm doing here on the radio, changing mindset. I'm not going for office, but with radio, I'm changing mindsets. Media. You can see you are listening to this in Ogijo. A lot of other people are listening to it in Ogijo. We are gradually changing mindsets. That's what we can only do.
So that is the point because of the fact that the leaders themselves come within us. They didn't come from the sky.
Yes.
So, but if we have that mindset that everybody stands for the right thing, for me, we will have a lot of things to achieve. Because you look at this whole situation now, that we should go and get our PVC.
And they are frustrating us to get our PVC. INEC is frustrating us. That
After then, are we ready to be able to wait and make sure that the whole exercise is being done effectively? Nobody is taking bribe. Nobody allowed bribe. Once you are been giving 5,000 naira or bag of rice, you will reject it and then do the right thing. Are we ready for that?
And please, let us also tell people that rice does not pay ransom. Rice does not pay ransom. Once or twice you will cook it and it will go. And your sufferness will continue. So please, the poverty mindset is there.
No doubt it's a man-made issue so that they can be, because once your mind is already occupying property, you are easily to control, and then you will not be able to think, all right. Even you will realize that most of the people, yesterday I watched on TV, when people are protesting for insecurity.
And some people were doing counter-protesters. Yeah, though you know those ones, they made those ones to come and do counter-protest.
I follow you on Twitter and I saw a lot of ways some of these people attack you. So once I see people attacking your tweets or you put on something, immediately I just give a value to that person that these are the people that doesn't want a good value. Because
yes.
Somebody be attacking somebody who is fighting for an insecurity. Do you want insecurity to be the... I don't get it.
No, they want insecurity to continue because they are benefiting from the government. Because they are evil people. And you know, see, they themselves, they don't know that they are victims. Because they are evil people, they are benefiting from the government. It's about their own.
Family can be kidnapped recently, and
Should be when I did the analysis. You know, when I did the analysis and I said, this thing looks like an inside job from the filler. You will see that they will never give you the full story of what transpired. They will kill the case and it will go. I thank God I said it. If you listen to Yango's Misbar review, I said it before now. So we are deceiving ourselves in this country.
You recently on the flight that came to land on the major road.
Yes.
That too with the flight on the carpet with time. You said so.
Yes. They will sweep it under the carpets. Till today, they've not told us the VIPs that are inside that plane or those that came down from that plane. So you can see a lot of things they hide. But when you have a country where somebody went to stand in front of plane because he has political affiliation, the next thing they did, they even made him an ambassador for FAN, the Federal Airport. So you see the kind of country we've bred. We've bred a broken system. Let's be realistic. It's a broken system. And for those that are benefiting from the system, I wish you luck. But the day it will come back to haunt you, don't complain. Because you think before you are benefiting from the system now, 0907-651-1008. I wish, look at me, this job I'm doing here, radio, all the platform, I'm not collecting 1 naira. It's service to humanity. On this, I even use my money for people. See the things we've instituted on VOP now. We are doing medical outreach very soon through VOP. Apart from me doing it myself, you know, I'm doing it on VOP so that people VOP will also doing it across. We want to start doing debating for people. So all this thing is to empower humanity. Hello, how are you? Morning, what's your name?
My name is Abraham.
Abraham, speak up. Where are you calling from? Abraham, what's the worth of life in Nigeria? Is life worth anything?
Wow, God, this life now. It's get as it is. What I want on my own selection is all those children they talking about me at only at just
Yeah.
government. Go and this thing.
Government has not rescued them since, so it's sad.
We heard about that too.
They have not rescued them. They are still there. They are still in kidnappers there.
That's what I'm saying.
Uh-huh.
Government to go and do, especially our president, to give order.
They've not done anything since. They just keep saying that they are working on it. They are working on it. Ah.
Like their mother, but they are in the bush. And the train and they are getting them, and it's not good. Let it our government.
No, we are begging them. If we beg them that, they say we don't like them. Me, I don't have anything against President Tinubu. I love him like I love everybody, but I just want Nigeria to be better. That's just it.
24,
So and let me say some things. Nigerians, please be at alert. I just want to tell people to be careful. 2007. You know, the NDC has a registration case in courts. And you know the ADC still has another case as regards faction. I just hope they don't use those cases. And I pray they don't use those cases to disqualify the likes of Obi and Atiku. Nigerians watch it. I pray they don't use those cases. I will have to start saying it now because we've seen what has happened in the past in this country. I just pray that Obi and Atiku and all this. I'm going to write today down that I'm saying it. I just pray that they don't use that one to disqualify Obi and Atiku. Because if they use that one to disqualify Obi and Atiku, it's going to be bad for democracy. And anybody that emerges from these elections is going to be a very tainted and weakened election. Already, INEC has shown that we can't be trusted.
Yes.
INEC has already shown that. Look at the challenge people are getting with PVC. I just hope those two cases, you know, somebody took NDC to court as regards registration, another case. I just hope they don't use that one to disqualify Obi and the factional case with ADC. I just hope they don't use that one to disqualify Atiku. And that's why I keep telling the opposition they must be careful. I just pray they don't use those cases to disqualify two of them from the ballots.
No.
Yes, sir.
I was sentenced to death 2016. My first time going out for robbery, I was arrested. I ventured into political thuggery. We were introduced to a lot of fetish things or giving arms to work during the election because we are working against a ruling party. I went to court for 5 years. My case was not open. 2016 September, I was transferred to maximum prison, Kirikiri. I spent 5 years on death row.
How was it like spending 5 years on death?
Welcome to yet another exciting edition of the program Rufai Podcast. And today we've got a very interesting guest to tell his story. And I know it's a deep one for you, but it's a story you want to tell. Just tell us from the very beginning. It's been a hard life for you that you want to tell your name and how it all started for you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. To start with, my name is Olumuyiwa Ayodeji Adeye. So I'm an indigene of Ekiti State. My experience started this way. Back then, 2010, I'm a student of then University of Ado-Ekiti UNAT, now EXU. I was studying business administration. I'm in my 200 level. So I also have a handwork that I do supporting myself because I lost my dad 2002 while I was still in Christ School at Doikiti. So in the process, during my school days, I ventured into political thuggery. So from there, went on election, got some of my friends as well to come into it because I rented an apartment off campus. So where I stayed, I met somebody who is a junior brother to an aspirant. I'm not going to mention name here. So the aspirant is an opposition, is in an opposition party to the ruling party. So I went out one day to a bar. So I met the junior brother of the aspirant. So he just asked me, he said, your face looks new here. And I said, I'm a student of University of Ado-Ekiti that I just rented an apartment here. That was in Ifaki. So the man now said, you're a student. So, wow. Then we interacted. And from there, he said, hope you won't mind to check me later. I came in from Lagos. I want to meet you in person. My brother is contesting for senatorial position and I want us to talk. So he gave me his card. Then in the evening of that same day, I visited him. So when I got to him, he told me he's going to want me to canvass some of my friends on campus so that we can come together and work for his brother so that his brother can come into the office. So I went to school. Then I called some of my friends and I told them, hey, this is going to fetch us money, and we're in a period whereby everybody is like, things are down. And so they were, hope is going to pay us well. And I said, definitely is going to pay us well. So we went, and from there, we were introduced to a lot of fetish things, giving arms to work during the election because we are working against a ruling party in government. So it went that way. Then after the election, we had to return those arms given to us, but some of us returned, why some of us didn't return it, and some of my friends. So
is it the senatorial candidate that gave you the arms?
Yes, they did. Aspirant. We have pump action, pistol, and after the election, some returned it, while some held back to it. So after the election, one day, I said I have a job. I have something I'm doing. I'm into videography and installation of projectors and CCTV. So I used to be close to the provincial pastor of my church then. So he discovered me in the church that, this boy, you are good in videography and these are, okay, I want to engage you in some work. Okay, can you help us install projectors? I said, fine. I said, sir, I can do it. So he said, okay, I should give him a quotation. I forwarded my quotation to him the second day and he said, okay, I should come the following week. So I installed the projector in the church and that was where I made my first money, even as a student. So I was now given a job to set up a media studio for the church. So I was doing that. So suddenly, the provincial pastor called me that, the studio you are working on, we are going to pause for a moment because they are trying to build a provincial headquarters and it's going to cost them a lot. So that was where they want to channel their financial strength. So every other project has to be pending. So then, a student who is making money and I felt, okay, let me find something else doing. So I ventured into selling footwears. I met a guy in Ikeja and introduced me to all these China vans. Back 2010, they sold those vans for 500 naira at wholesales then. So the guy usually give me goods of about 150,000. Then I'll just pay initial of like 150. Then as I'm selling, I'll be paying him back. So I bought a car when I did the job for my church. So I was riding Mazda 323 F10. So I usually use my vehicle as my mobile shop. Whenever I'm on campus, anywhere I got to, I'll just open my boot. My fellow student will come around. Hey, what do you have? They'll pick footwears and all that. So after much, one day, because I was living in an apartment whereby it's 3-bedroom flats. So each student has a room to themselves. So one of my best friend, I left my car key on top of the shelves at the sitting room. So I wanted to go and check, and our father do consult science for us whenever we are going for campaign, for election.
So as at that time that you bought your car, you were doing that work.
Yes, because I've been into political talk
so
before I was engaged by the church.
So you were still.
So I couldn't pull out because I've already I had oaths ready with.
You swore an oath?
Yes, we swore an oath.
I mean, how do you swear an oath?
The oath is that whatever things that have been given to us, we won't rub with it. So we swore oaths that we're not going
blood
to
oath?
It's a kind of it's a blood oath, and they drop cola nuts.
So how did they swear? They take your blood?
They pierce our skin, then the blood drops into a calabash. So all of us that are coming for the oaths, then they drop our blood into it. So the blood, everybody takes part of the blood. Then the cola nuts will be pieces on the floor. Then we have to use a knife, a metal something, to pick that cola nut and chew. So, and we now mention our name. I so we not every charms and every empowerment given to me, I'm not going to rob or do evil with it. So that's that's their intention of the oaths. And then I'm not going to leak out the secret of the party to an opposition party. I'm going to be loyal and honest.
Who gave you people these guns? Was it the man that contacted you the first day that issued all the guns to you? Who gave you and who bought bullets?
Actually, they had their connections all around. They make calls for all these things, because I could remember there was a particular time we were preparing for election, and all of a sudden we received an information from a police officer informing us that from Abuja there is an order that they should come and search the house of the family house of the aspirant where we all gathered. So immediately we received that information. The aspirant immediately said, okay, oh yeah, everybody pack your things and everything. We are moving out of here immediately. So we had to rush to the party secretariat in Ado-Ekiti. So we all entered into the vehicle, and immediately we are going out, because there is a roundabout. One leads to Oye and one leads to Ido. So immediately we are coming out of Ifaki. We saw the convoy of the AIG coming directly to Ifaki. So while we were going, there is a barricade that they don't want to allow us to come out. But the vehicle leading us is a Land Cruiser Jeep. So the Land Cruiser Jeep had to eat the drums that were used to barricade the road. So that was how we escaped, and we made our way out, because we've packed all our things. So thereafter, after the period, a friend of mine took my car key. I didn't know he didn't know how to drive well. So he had an accident with my vehicle in front of our house. I was just coming back, and immediately I saw it. In fact, if not for God that day, he would have died, because I was still the same person that God used to rush him to the hospital. So then business were down, where funds were coming in from me, from the church contracts, nothing was coming on again. So I was just down. So some of my colleagues that we've worked together now called me that they are in Ikere, in Ondo, because I met them in a ADME college in Ondo. So they were former students of College of Education Ikere. So they now went for a postgraduate course in ADM in Ondo. So that was where we met. So they now sent for me that I should come around, that they are here, that I should just come and visit them. So that was why I went there to see them. And in the process, we were discussing. I told them, I said, things were down, because they knew that I have a business I'm doing and things were okay for me. In fact, most times whenever they sees me, they take some of my products as my colleagues, so they don't pay and they're always happy. So when they sees me, what's happening to you? Why are you looking like this? I said, things are bad. Where is your vehicle? I said, forget about vehicle. Vehicle had an accident already. So now I'm just trekking with my leg, taking bikes to school and all that. So that was, and they said, but some of us had our M's with us now. Why don't we do something for ourselves? I said, do something like so let's go out and look for money in another way. And I said, have you forgotten that there is an oath binding us? He said, forget about that. That oath is not going to work. So I looked at it. Then the guy that used to give me the goods I was selling, I was owing the guy 75,000 naira then 2010. And the guy has been calling me. And I'm a kind of person, when I'm indebted to someone, I would not have peace of mind. So whenever I see the guy's call, he will be calling me often and often. And so I was looking for every means to pay the guy so that I can rest. So I know that I said, okay, I'm ready to even do anything so that I can get this guy's money and let him get out of my back. So in that process, I accepted to follow them. So we went out that day. My first time going out for robbery, then I was arrested. The two were at large. They escaped. So I was the only one caught at this, not at the same, because we escaped already. So I was taking...
Was the robbery successful before you escaped?
It was successful. It was a vehicle. It was a dealer. We went there, wanted to buy the vehicle. It was an Infinity Jeep. So we priced it and wanted to test what we want to buy. So in that process, one of us came out with the gun, and the driver was, hey, because it was the manager that took us for a test. So he now said, okay. He was going to cooperate with us. And at the long run, we got to a place where the road was diverted. We were road construction was happening there. So in the process, there was a road diversion. So that was where the manager came down from the vehicle and started shouting, hey, I'm robber. So immediately the guy came down, then everywhere was a wire, and the officers around, they couldn't even hear the noise of the guy, because there's all these bulldozers were walking and there is noise everywhere. But some people around were like, what's happening? But before they could know, we came out of the vehicle and we were running for our lives before those two people escaped, and I was the only one arrested. So they took me to Ondo A division. They call it A division. So I was there. Transferred me to SARS. They called SARS. So they transferred me to SARS. And after much, I was in SARS for 17 days. I spent 17 days there. Then the process, I was transferred to the magistrate courts. From the magistrate courts, I was transferred to the prison. That was where another life started there. So I spent 6 years in our waiting trial. I have confidence in saying all this because it's my old identity and I'm now living a new life. So in that process, while I was in confinement, I spent 6 years awaiting trial. I went to court for 5 years. My case was not opened. So no complainants, no IPO. I was just going adjournment upon adjournment. And after much, when my lawyer and my family got to the stage of, okay, no complainants is showing up, because during police inquiry, they took me to the complainant. The complainant said he's confused that he does not want to have case with this boy, because he doesn't, his mind doesn't feel like he wants to do case that since he has seen what was stolen, and then let them just go away with him, that he does not have anything to do with me. So they were inviting him to court. He's not showing up. He's not coming. Even his manager, they said he should send his manager. One of the adjournments, the manager came. The court wasn't sitting, and thereafter he didn't come. So after 5 years, then they filed a motion bail for me on health grant, because during the torture, they hit me with the back of the right. So I was coughing blood. Whenever I won't say anything, blood gushed out. And in fact, that was one of the reasons why I was quickly taken to court, because the OCSR said they should take him to court. If he wants to die, let him go and die in the prison. He shouldn't die here. So in that process, when motion bail was fined for me, the state council quickly make arrangement for a police officer, which I don't know. I've never seen him all through the case. Suddenly we were in courts for the hearing of my motion bail, and somebody came. They said there is a witness. Who is a witness? They said there is a police officer, an IPO. Then the IPO stood up. So I raised up my hand immediately so that the judge could allow me to talk. The judge said, no, you are not to talk. It's your lawyer that should say anything. So my lawyer wasn't saying anything. I was even trying to give my lawyer a sign. I don't know this IPO. I've never seen him before in my life. So the man came into the witness box and said, he's the IPO of the case. And that was how the case was opened after 5 years. So they opened the case with the police officer. So thereafter, after the police officer have spoken, they now have to go back and mount pressure on the complainant so that the manager can come and say his own part. So he came, he said his own part, and that was how I was sentenced to death 2016. So 2016 September, I was transferred to maximum prison Kirikiri in Apapa, Lagos. I spent 5 years on death row. When I was...
What was it like spending 5 years on death row? What was it like knowing that you could be? And
after the judgment, I never know what's going to happen next. So I've already zeroed my mind that, well, that's the end, because I do watch in American movie the way their prison is, how they are being maltreated, how they are being sodomized by those that have been there for long. So the fear was on me that, these are things I'm going to witness, because I don't know how it's going to be. So luckily for me, getting to Kirikiri in Lagos, the DCC, the officer in charge, while I was on awaiting trial, is the one that was transferred to Kirikiri. So immediately he saw me for admission, because he came for admission. Immediately saw me, said, because he usually calls me pastor, though I was a Christian when I entered into the confinement, but I converted to Islam. I practiced Islam for 5 years of my awaiting trial. My 6 years of awaiting trial, I practiced Islam. But he chose to be calling me pastor, because he knew I was a Christian before I came in. So the person that taught me Arabic when I converted to Islam is one of the Boko Haram's inmates that was arrested. He was the one that taught me Arabic. So when the man saw me, he said, Pastor, what are you doing here? I said, sir. I said, that was I see everything, that I was finally convicted. The man said, I never expected that even if they are going to convict you as a first-time offender, that you'll be sentenced to death. I was expecting, even if it's going to be like an imprisonment, jail term. And he now said, well, he said, since I am here, because the man I discovered something about myself in confinement. The experience taught me that whenever you want to discover yourself, put yourself in isolation. That was when I now got to know there are some socialites, some important personalities in the society. Suddenly, you won't just hear anything about them. You won't just see them. No traces in the social cycle of the society. So I know when I was having those instinct that, oh, so this is why some people will just put themselves away from the society. And because I discovered in isolation, I discovered I could write. I started writing nonsense. Something told me that you write nonsense to make sense. So whenever I wrote something, I'll give it to somebody. Please read this. This is what I wrote. Then when the person is reading, and it's going to be somebody who I knew that is an educated person, an elderly person, the person will tell me, "Oh, you wrote this?" I said, "Yes, I wrote it overnight." Wow, this is inspiring. Please keep it up. So that was how I started writing. In fact, when I started writing, the prison used to be a punitive system of prison system. So pen is not allowed, paper is not allowed, because the prison officer believed a pen can be used as a weapon whenever two inmates have arguments with themselves, so they can injure themselves with it. So they don't allow pen, they don't allow paper, because some inmates still find a way of writing something that seems like a petition and still send it through some visiting lawyers that comes around to visit. They'll pass it to them, take it out, and it's a threat to the officers that run the prison itself. So they don't allow all those things. So I smuggled in a writing material during one of my adjournments. I got an exercise book. I smuggled it in with a pen. So I was writing. Whenever I wake up in the night, I'll write, because when I have inspiration the most is in the midnight. I'll write. So I was writing. So when I got to Lagos, and this man that was my in charge in Akure saw me in Lagos, said, "Okay, you told me about the book you were writing then. Okay, I will help you here." Here is Lagos is different from Akure, because prison is run according to its environment. In Akure, the prison is between a rocky area, and is a forest. It's a place whereby you hear sounds of different animals in the night. But Lagos there is different. It's like the prison is even within the town itself. So he said there is school here, there's church. You want to go to church, you want to go to school, you want to continue your education, you're free. So wow. I said, wow, this is different from what I was expecting. So this man personally himself, the in charge, said, "You are a good boy. I understudied you, and I discovered that it is peer pressure that led you to what you've committed. And I am here as a father to tutor you to be a better person." This man, as an in charge, went to the store where they keep mattress, took mattress, carried it himself. He had a lot of officers. He's a deputy controller of prison, DCP. Then they were still using DCP. They've not changed it to correctional, DCC now. They were using DCC now. The man carried the mattress himself. And he said, "Pastor, move. I'm carrying this mattress. I'm following you." I said, "Daddy," I said, "No." I said, "I don't deserve you carrying a mattress and following me." I said, "Bring it, let me." He said, "No." He said, "I choose to." So you won't know why I choose to. There's what I see in you. Just go. I'm following you. Then all other junior officers were following him. He said, "This boy is my boy," because I used to be a provost under him while I was in Akure. In fact, he chose me to be a kitchen representative for all awaiting trial and supervise, because when he came in as an officer in charge, usually then, every month, 2, 3, 4, at times 5 would die. Every month. So when he came, he set up a panel. Why are inmates dying? What's happening? Then they gave him a report that it was hepatitis B that was killing them, malnutrition. So he said he wants to look into the feeding of the inmate. He wants to improve the welfare of the inmate. He does not want inmate to be dying under him. So he now came to the kitchen. He usually comes, supervise, taste the food. He will even take spoon and eat. Look at, okay, this is okay. So he now decided to choose one of the provosts. So I was one of the provosts. He decided to choose one of us. So he now called every one of us. He said, his mind chose this person that is going to be his eye. Then he called all the officers in the kitchen and said, you see this boy, when you are seeing him standing in the kitchen, I'm the one standing. If he says the food is not okay, you guys should make correction. There was an experience I had there because there was attack left and right, because there was murmuring that, how will Oga bring an inmate to be supervising a prison officer? So I used my own initiative because there is an advert in Yoruba on Tabafi Ishe. So I now had to be playing neutrality between the DCC, this DCP, and the junior officers then. So the man took me up in Lagos. I sat down one night. I said, this man that treated me with honor, that I'm a nobody, somebody who is no longer relevant in the society, and the judge said, you're thereby sentenced to death by hanging. The judge even said, may your soul rest in perfect peace. In blessed memory of the judge today, because I have it at the back of my mind that after my release, I will go and visit her. She's a former Chief Justice of Ondo State, because she is one of the tools that God used to refine my life. Because I had it at the back of my mind, I will visit her and make her see that every other person might see a judge as a wicked person. I didn't see you as a wicked person. I see you as a tool. I see you as a mother. The same judge that sentenced you to sentenced me to death. I was having that intention of visiting her. Coming out, she passed on. So in that process, something came to my mind that this man that treated you with honor, why don't you write an autobiography about him, his service? Then I was now thinking within myself, what's going to be the right topic for this book? Then a topic came to my mind, The Chronicle of a Magnificent Porter. Actually, out of copy. When I came out with just 2 copies. I'm only having 1 copy with me now, but I have the front cover, yes, and the back cover here with me. And this was in prison. You wrote this? Yes. This is the front page, and this is the man in front of me. So, yes, that was my name there. So that's the man. So, after writing this book, I usually saved whatever my family gives me whenever they comes visiting me, all my days. So then I was having about 300,000 naira in record. So you now go to a stage of, because this man gave me an editor from the training school, from Wada Training School. The man used to be a lecturer there. So the man came, he was my editor, he was editing, and we got to the stage of production to publish. Then this man said, at this stage, I will back out. I won't be the one to give you a publisher. Look for a publisher yourself, because it's your intellectual property. I now looked at it. I said, sir, but I wrote this for you. He said, no. He said, it's your intellectual property. Look for a publisher yourself. So I now remember that my dad used to be a publisher. He's into printing and publishing before he died. So there was a friend of my dad that they were working together back then. So I now contacted my mom. My dad's friend, in blessed memory now, he's late. After publishing my book, he died 2 months later. And that was why I wasn't having soft copy of the book, because he promised to bring me the soft copy in a flash drive before he died. So he came, my mom sent the number, and we were able to call him. He came to the office of the officer in charge. And the officer in charge said, this is what Muiwa has. And the man wanted to be talking about my case, but I said, Daddy, let's trash this first, then I will explain everything to you. Then that was how the man gave us, because the book also contains some pictorial content as well. The man gave him some of the pictures that were needed and signed at the back for security reasons. So he went and it was approved to publish. I printed about 500 copies then. So immediately the book was printed. The man's birthday usually comes up in October. So we decided to do the book launching / birthday of the man. But suddenly a radio message came for a transfer. There was an issue in Owerri. So they said they needed the man in Owerri because the man is a very active. In fact, he is retired, but I still see that man as an important tools that is still relevant to be used for that sector. So they took him to Owerri. So the man had to hand over the book to a welfare in charge. And this was one of my bitter experience in the process of reformation. I was trying to be a reformed person. So the book I published with my money after the man had left, though the man came briefly for the birthday because he's no longer a station. He has to take permission from the new officer in charge. So they couldn't do the launching inside the yard. They took it outside the yard. In fact, they had to take a lot of papers signing before they could took me out to the field in front of the school for the launching because I was an inmate on death row. So after then, the book was launched. So I went to the welfare in charge. Sir, I want to make an inquiry. Alpha, because 1.4 million was money that I had that was donated in the launching, cash, aside from promises and all of that. So I went to the man. I said, I wanted to know what's up about the financial status of the launching of my book. The man said, I don't have business with you. The man you had business with is no longer here. Am I there when you guys were entering office, going about your book? Why? Because the man had that I used to be a Muslim at Olokuta. But when I got to Lagos, I went back to the church because there had been a message for me. So I went back to the church. So the man was annoyed because the man is a Muslim. So because when I got to Kirikiri, I was a commercial student and I decided to study because I had this passion for mass communication. But because I did not have that brain for literature, so I had to choose commercial. But when I got to the facility, I decided to go for.
So you were going to open university in Peru?
Yes, I decided to
even
go
as in death row.
Yes, I decided to go for mass communication. So now I needed literature. So I had to write GCE there. So the man was a welfare in charge and I had to pass through him. So when I got to him, my name was on number 3 on the list. When they brought the form, because he has been telling me, come, why did you go to church? Come back to mosque. I said, sir, that's where my heart is staying for now. I said, religion is a choice. I can decide today that I want to go to mosque and tomorrow I decide I want to go to church. I said, okay. He said, I'll have to wait for a form. So he asterisked my name with a red pen. So I didn't have the opportunity to write that exam there, but I didn't give up. The next one, he had no choice because I was a teacher and a student in the school. Because immediately I went to the school, I enrolled as a teacher and a student. Whenever it's time for my own subject, I will come and teach. For other subjects, I will go and sit down and listen to the lectures. So the man now had to tell me that I had no business with him. I should look for a way to go and communicate with the DCC, which there is no way I want to get his number or I want to communicate with him. There is no way I want to get his number. So I said, well, so whenever my people comes around or some new intake from the banks, they come, they take them around the yard and show them the prison, and some NGOs come around too. Whenever I need to showcase my book to those people, I will have to use my own money to go and buy the book I publish with my money. So I'll go to the man. I need 20 copies. We said, okay, where is my money? I'll pay. Then I was selling the book for 1,000 naira. I will buy the book. I will now take it to the people I'm taking the book to. So that was how I've been doing it till another in charge came again. After that in charge. So the in charge now saw my books in his office, and then it was about 150 copies left. Then I remembered. So one day, the man just sent for me. Adi, come. What was this book? I said, yes, it's my book. He said, I saw your picture at the back. He said, what happened? I now explained the scenario, what happened. He said, come and pack it. It's your property. Take it away. I had no business with this now. It's your thing now. Why should it be in our care? So that was how I had opportunity to have 150 copies out of the book. So I took the book with myself. And I went back. So whenever NGO comes, I'll try and sell. And that was how I was able to get about 100 plus. Because at the end of the day, I now lost passion to go on and publish another book. Though I still had about 3 books, 3 manuscripts on grant, unedited, before I was released. So, one of my experience as well, because I was into leadership position in awaiting trial and even on death row. I was a provost for 2 years on death row. And while I was a provost for 2 years on death row, I was sleeping in the domain where the gallows is located. Whenever you come out from my cell in the morning, you are looking at the gallows, because the gallows has a glass where you can see where people are being executed.
Did you see some people being executed in that time?
No, because execution no longer goes on in Lagos. But while I was there was an execution that came up in Edo State, which everybody had. So, whenever I come out in the morning and I see the gallows, I was like, God. Hey, so one day they can call me. In the process of while I was writing the book, one of the officers, the psychologist from Akure, from Ondo State, came to visit the in charge. So he heard about my book. He saw my book on the table of the in charge, and he inquired to see me, that I want to say hi to me, because I used to be like an office boy to him. So the man sent for me, and it was around after 7. So suddenly when the officer came around to open me, we just hear chain, because when the officer is coming, he will come with a chain, an anchor. So he just called my name. Immediately I had my name, I just called the provost then. Provost, hey, am I going like this? Is this my time? The provost said, this is strange, but I'm sure nothing is going to happen. Go. The officer came, shouted my name. Who you are there? I came to the gate. I gave him my hand, because that's the rule. Once you are caught, I gave him my hand. Then he fisted the ankle and opened the iron gate. I came out. I said, why are you taking me to? He said, don't worry. He said, there is nothing. Just go. Somebody wants to see you. I looked at the provost. I said, bros, I'm going. He said, Muiwa. I said, nothing will happen to you. Everybody were shouting, there will be nothing. Go. So not until I got to the office of the in charge and I discovered he's one of his officers that wanted to say hi to me, that came from Ondo State for training school in Lagos. So it used to be like, the word has come.
Did you dream about death many times?
Actually, because that's the mentality we live with every day. When you are going to bed in the night, you have this mind that next morning might not be your home. That's the mentality, because though there was stay of execution, governors does not want to sign. The law is there. The files is in their front. Any governor can decide to sign at any time, because it's not cancelled. So we usually have that mind whenever we are going to bed, that anything can happen tomorrow, because when Edo State won't happen, it sends a signal round. Then there was a period, a friend to the governor of the state where I had the case in Ondo State was killed by armed robbers. And that friend used to be a friend that they were together when he has nothing. They were managing themselves. So when the friend had that, he became a governor. The friend is an overseer. Now came home to celebrate with his friend that have become a governor. So in the process, at that period, that friend was killed by armed robbers. So the governor was annoyed. So the governor now called the Attorney General, please get me the list of those that have exhausted their lifeline. So then we're hearing rumor there were 20 men lists that were to be executed. So even we that were still in appeal courts and people in Supreme Court, they were still like, they don't believe their name can be called. So everybody then there was in the yard, people started fasting and praying. And that was when I know that it is when men had problems, they remember God. Once you are out of that problem, you forget about God. God, go and do your own. I'm free now. So prayers were going on everywhere. Then the governor, now when we now know that it is real, the governor now called a meeting of all the kings because information were reaching us from the officers that the kings should vote those that are supporting. We heard that a lot of kings were not supporting that. Most of those people have been behind bar 10, 15, 20, because I met somebody that has spent 33 years behind the bar. He has been in the prison during the military era. I met him there 33 years. So most of the kings were like, some of these people have already learned their lesson. They've been there for years. Why will somebody be on death row for 15, 20 years and it is now they are going to kill the person? That they believe that such person is due for parole, maybe given a jail time served and will have opportunity to be reformed and reintegrate to the society. So most of the kings did not support the execution. And I think that was why the governor decided to back out from it and change his mind to now have mercy instead of execution. So I was one of those that benefited as a result of the book I wrote, because circular will come, recommendation of inmate from so states, because there are different inmates from different states in the facility in Lagos due to the fact that it's maximum. So it has the facility to contain inmates on death row. So they submitted my own recommendation along with the book, one of the copies. So when the book got to the Attorney General took it to the governor, and that was how the governor committed me to life, that they should observe me.
After how many years did they commit you to life? How many years were you on death row for?
I was 5 years.
On death row?
On death row.
So cumulatively plus the start of the case, you have spent over like 10 years.
Yes. I spent about 15 years when I was finally released, because 6 on awaiting trial, 5 on death row. Then I spent 4 on life. So in that period when I was commuted to life, so I spent another 2 years before I was qualified to write again for clemency. So that period, the governor was sick then. So I think my paper was unstable. After the 2 years, you said we should observe him. Yes, in blessed memory. So when he was to sign my outright release, they flew him out again to Germany then. So the next thing, I just heard that the governor is late. That day, I felt, hey, the only exit door I had is shut again. Because I believed the new administration might not be interested in what the former governor was doing. So, but thanks be to God, the governor, Ayeda Tiwada, came in when he wanted to grant pardon. He decided that they should go back to what his boss has done. They should bring it. Because initially in his tenure, the list that was submitted, my name wasn't there. It was new people that were there, because I have nobody to speak for me again. The in charge that knows me, the person that knows Joseph, is no longer there. So the in charge that was there does not know me. So at the end of the day, the list that was on the table of Akeredolu was brought, and that was how my name came in for the release that brought me out. I was now committed from life to 10 years. They had to calculate it, run it. So they discovered that I've even spent more than the 10 years based on prison calendar is 8 months. And I have spent 15 years, 12 months calendar. So I was released outrightly. Immediately they calculated it. So the experience I want to talk about, that very painful to me, that make me see is that there is still a lot of things to do in the correctional center. Is that while I was the head of inmates on death row, there was one of a very big case that really made wave in Lagos State and all over Nigeria, and it came out internationally as well. A kidnapping case. That inmate used to be under my jurisdiction as a provost. So I was given the authority to watch over him because he was placed on security watch, intensive security watch. So whenever he needs anything, they told him he should call me, send me. So I was like an intermediary, a messenger between him and the authority. So whenever he needs anything, he sends me to them. But they gave me some rules. Don't allow him. They gave me boundaries. The way other inmates were free, the authority reduced it because of his profile. So I was following those rules because I was also hiding my head, because anything that happens will affect my own parole and will affect my freedom. So he hated me with passion. Most times whenever the officer in charge comes, the one that knows me, whenever he comes, he will tell him that, I don't know what happened. Whenever I see this guy in the morning, my heart goes ablaze. The man was like, why are you scared of him? He's an inmate like you. Except you have skeleton in your cupboard. How are you scared of him? He will say, God, please help me talk to this guy. I don't like him. He's like, whenever I see him, I felt, did I kidnap any member of his family? He's always hard on me. And I will tell him, how am I hard on you? Whenever you say you need anything, I will rush. I will go there. Even when it is not convenient for me, I will go on errand for you. I want to eat. You will call me. You need something. I will abandon my food. I will go on message for you. How am I threatening you? So when that man was transferred, the in charge that I know, then they brought another in charge. So that in charge, he went to him. He told that in charge that he wants me to be removed as the head of inmate on death row. So the in charge said, what did he do? Why will I remove him? He told the in charge, he said, I'm not convenient with him as the leader. Then I now believed it's like he does not have that freedom to do whatever he wished to be doing. So he sees me as a threat. So he told the man that the man should remove me. So the man said, there is no allegation. There is no point I can give other officers that this is what he has done. So then I got this information from an officer that told me that anonymously. So he told the man that if the man can remove me, he's going to give the man 1.5 million just to remove me. So the man said, okay, he should go and play his own game if he knows how to go about it. So he went back to other inmates and told them that they should revolt against me, that they don't want me. They should protest that they don't want me. So let that protest happen on a Thursday when it's going to be lecture day, that everybody will be in lecture. So I was just meditating, waiting for general open out so that I can go to the school, because I was also assistant director of studies in the school, in the secondary school where they write GCE, where I used to be a teacher. So I was waiting. Suddenly I just heard, hey, we don't want him anymore. We don't want him as our head. I started hearing ringing. They were ringing with all these ration plates, these aluminum plates. Initially, somebody came to me in my office in the school where I used to be the assistant director of studies, that there is a coup that have been planned against you, because as there is government outside, there is government behind bars. So there is a coup that is to come out against you. They want to remove you. And I told the person, I said, I didn't put myself there. I said, if God said it is my time to leave, I said, let it be. I said, I didn't lobby for it, because some people lobbied for it. They spend money to get there. I did not lobby for it. I was just selected. I said, anything that wants to happen, let it happen. Because there have been times that I've met the officer in charge that I want to leave that position, that it does not allow me to write my books any longer, that it takes a lot of my time because I'm a choir in the church as well. So I don't have enough time for myself. I said, I don't want it anymore. But because the officer in charge, they have rest of mind on somebody who is the head of inmates and is doing that work diligently, helping their security. They believe in that person so much, though. So they do as much as possible to keep that person. But in this scenario, money is involved with this new officer that was transferred there. So he promised all the inmates 5,000 naira. That is going to give them 5,000 naira. And behind bar, if you dash somebody 500 naira, that person is going to appreciate you for like a week. Whenever he sees you, hey, sir, thank you for yesterday. Hey, thank you. So they all agreed. And even the person that led that coup is somebody that I assisted just yesterday that needed an assistance in the clinic because he's on medics. So the drugs they want to buy, he didn't have money and the prison does not have it in the medical center. I was the one that paid for it. So I was like, I called him when why? What is happening? Why is it you? He said, I should forget. They are tired of my administration. They don't want me again. I said, I've been expecting that as well. I said, no problem. You guys should not go violent. If that is what you want, once the officer in charge comes, I will tell him. So immediately they've heard that noise while they were doing their lecture. So the officer in charge came and the junior officers came in as well. So immediately they saw the scenario. They said, okay. If you guys don't want him again, then I as an officer will not just remove him because he has done nothing for me, but we are going to vote. Okay, let everybody face the wall. They called me out. I was facing the other wall. And they said, okay, oh yeah, you can now face back. If you don't want him again as your head, raise up your hand. Some people raised up their hand. They were counting. Some people were anonymous. They said they are not going to vote. Then, if you want him as your leader, raise up your hand. They counted. And my number outnumbered the ones that does not want me. So his game didn't work. So there was a guy that is a Boko Haram case. It's an high-profile Boko Haram case. I won't mention name. So the guy was of the known of what was about to happen. But the guy did not support. The guy was anonymous. So, and the guy used to be a friendly person to everybody. In fact, the guy was sleeping under my bunk at a time. So the guy did not vote. So he was annoyed with the guy, the other guy that made arrangement for my removal. He was annoyed. He was bitter. So when the in charge discovered that my number outnumbered number of those that does not want me, he said, okay. Since, because it was 16 to 14, I could still remember. The people that supported me were 16. The people that were against me was 14. While others were anonymous. So the man said he needs a peace committee. Despite the fact, because once he has gotten that number, my expectation, the way the job is being done, is that immediately the number is higher. He should retain me. Then he will do a reshuffling. He will take away those that were against me and exchange them, because we have two beats
for death row.
So it will bring people, neutral people from another place, and take those that are against me that were revolting, take them to another place. He didn't do that. He said he needs a peace talk committee. He now chose from those that are neutral. He now chose from those against, those in support, to form a 6-man committee. I raised up my hand. I said, sir, it's of no need of this committee. I said, there can be no peace. People against me. People in support of me. How will there be? This is not a peace committee. I said, sir. I personally myself, I am ready to step down. I said, I don't need any peace committee. So it was obvious to me that something is fishy until that officer unfolded the whole story to me. Then I now linked it up. But not knowing that same day that the issue was going on, the board of amnesty was sitting that same day. So just I think about 1:30 in the afternoon, they sent for me from Wese that they wanted to talk to me from Ondo. So immediately the woman said Barrister so from the panel of Mercy in Ondo State. He said, congratulations, your name have been shortlisted, that they've commuted you from death to life. I was happy. So I kept it to myself. So immediately I went to the officer in charge. I said, I seek for something, sir. I said, I want to sleep overnight there. And I want you to help me arrange another cell that I can move my things to. He said, no problem. So I went to those that are against me. I made peace. Even some of them were shocked when I came and I wanted to embrace them. They felt maybe I want to harm them or something. I said, no. I said, we will not, because of prison position, become enemy. We don't know where we'll meet again in life. Life is not ending there. So I embraced all of them. I even called somebody that does snacks and I said, the person should bring snacks shared for everybody. I called them and insisted, the person that led the protest, come, you must take from this. And that was how I settled myself and I went to another cell. The next day, the in charge called me. He said, who taught me the wisdom that he said, I expect that there's going to be anarchy, there's going to be war. I said, sir, there's not going to be any war. I said, what am I fighting for? I said, I'm working for you. And if you said you are okay, you are tired of my work, I said, I will leave. I said, why will I be struggling for it? I said, I'm only there to contribute my quota to humanity, support my fellow inmates, assist, because my position as a leader on death row is to, some people are on medics because the situation triggers their mental health and some of them start behaving I had to take these people to hospital, those that had BP, all this, some people that want to reach out to their family, the welfare, those are my duties. So I said, it's okay. I was even the one that told him that my deputy is capable to carry on. That let him.
So all this time you had known that you were not part of them any longer?
No, I have not known then.
Oh, we said they had called you that you were being.
It was after the scenario that I got the information that I'm no longer in their midst. I have settled everything.
So do you think that mutiny against you was prophetic? That once they said, stop being the head of death row, God had taken you out of that position and put you on a path to your redemption. So you were no longer part of that.
Yes, that was my belief because something came to my mind. I didn't mean I battled to remain there. Probably the voices, because I was told the Attorney General does not want to agree with the commuter because of my age. He said I'm still young. But the voices were standing on that book. Somebody that was behind on death row that was thinking I might not see tomorrow and wrote a book while he was in an unpalatable situation that no, such person worth it. Because it usually used to be like a court. People will be standing appealing, please. So the chairman of the NBA, Akure, was there saying the legal aid, no, this person deserves an opportunity.
So while your case was being deliberated away in Accra, something spiritually was also happening
in the yard.
There was a mutiny
in the yard, yes.
In the yard against you.
Yes.
And you were trying to fight. Let me continue to be the process of death row.
I wasn't trying to fight though.
But God was telling you that you are no longer on death row.
In fact, I was, because when things is about to work for a man, unknown to the wisdom of the man will be in alignment with the spirit, with the spiritual. Because I wasn't interested any longer. So it's not my own understanding agreeing to leave the position because the time has come. So everything has to work together. Because if I have revolted, because they call Yoruba will say Ogun Afowofa, that means I come against what God is about to do.
So God had done it.
But God have done it. So everything is just came up.
So the same person that plotted against you, when they discovered that they too, a day after they plotted against you, you have been committed and you have led their truth. What happened?
They all came to congratulate me because I've already made peace with them before the information came. So we are still friends. Because I told them, I'm not going to.
in death row now?
Actually, they are still in death row. Some of them have been committed, but they are still in prison.
most of those that revolted against me, they are still there. Because I have followed my employer, the church that I'm working with. Thank God for the church.
You still do a lot of prison outreach and stuff.
Yes, I followed them to prison outreach. I've been there to visit my fellow. We used teammates for ourselves. We don't call ourselves inmates. We call ourselves teammates. I've been there to visit them once, and I've been in a rehab in Ikorodu. Is it? I've forgotten the name they call that place, but it's in Ikorodu. I've been there as well. So, in that process,
I'd like to make some donation to your work.
Oh, thank you, sir.
I'd like to. So it's because I also do some prison ministry work.
Wow.
I've gone to Koi prison.
Wow.
I'd also have to speak to them, but I would like to, after this show, I'll just make some small token donation.
Wow. Yeah, thank you, sir. Actually, another experience that I have, there are a lot of NGOs that comes to the confinement. It comes to us as somebody who wants to add value to our lives. But not until after my release, I discovered they were doing it for their own selfish interests. A lot of us that have known them, they promised us, whenever you guys are out, visit us, come to us. In fact, immediately I came out. In fact, there are some of them that I will even send message to. They will even read the message. They won't even reply. I was now like, wow. These are the people that promised heaven and earth. They are going to help. And they are using us to collect grants from international organizations. And I was like,
how was your family going through all of this? What was the state of your mother and your father?
Actually,
your father died in the throes of all of this.
No, died before. But my mom, actually, I must be frank.
And have you gone back to finish school?
Yes. I finished my school there
in the prison,
National Operating.
So you have
a BSc in mass communication. Actually, my mom, it was very tough on her because it wasn't easy for a mother to be on seats and somebody was giving a judgment of death and says, may your soul rest in perfect peace. In fact, my mom stood up from the seat where she was sitting and hit herself on the floor. And the whole court was like, the judge does not even feel anything. The judge just said, call me another case. And in the dock where I was standing, I was looking at the only thing that shook me there was my mom. The judgment that came on me did not even matter because I believed is a consequence of what I have committed, and I have learned to take responsibility of whatever that I have done because I knew it's now up to God to take the final decision. Because if a man, they said, who says a thing that comes to pass when God have not said it? If a man says you are sentenced to death and God has not sentenced you to death, definitely the person will still live. Even the person that sentenced you to death might even would have died, and you that was sentenced to death is still alive. So, but what touches me is my mom. In fact, it affected my mom that my mom had partial stroke. In fact, till this moment, I'm still battling with it because the partial stroke affected her a lot. It takes the grace of God to make her start walking with her two legs again. So coming out and the society that you have left for 15 years and trying to catch up again, because I won't lie to you, one of the things people face after coming out from such situation is stigmatization. Because even some of my family still, this moment, have not set their eyes on me. They're like, we don't know. I came out 2024. At least I'm about 2 years. By October this year, I'll be 2 years. But the body that employed me did not know anybody with me. The church that employed me, they didn't know any of my family. Even my mom is presently in Lagos, where I live. She has not visited the church because I want her to be well okay before she comes to the church. But the church did not worry. They took me the church took me. In fact, presently I can even say the church is my family because I see them every day. They looked after, even when I have medical challenges, they were there for me. When it seems, because there was a day I was down, in fact, I was thinking I'm not going to survive that sickness. They were there with me. So a lot of NGOs comes in behind bar and say they are going to do this, they are going to do that. But at the same time, it's still same NGOs
that are still doing everything. Because out of 12 disciples, there will be a Judas. There are some of the NGOs that really stood their ground in bad lives. They are not going to promise you heaven and earth that when you come out, this is what we are going to do. But whatever they have in power to do while the inmate is there, they will be doing it. Like there is one of the NGO that I used to be their coordinator for about 5 years, internal coordinator there, where we teach people about principles of life, character, anger management, purpose-driven life. I used to be their.
I mean, just put your account number so we quickly get it done. No, just type it in there.
Okay.
As I'm led. Wow. I mean, this is a very amazing story, as regards, life and all of that. The next batch of questions I will ask will be around, let me just help you. It will be around the other people that you went to do the robbery together.
Yes.
That are at large.
Yes.
I mean, did they ever get in touch with you? Did they ever come back to you? Did you ever hear about them?
When I came out.
Also, the political aspirants.
Okay.
That all of this started from with the guns it was giving you and all the weapons and all the ammunitions and all of that. So, what happened and transpired as regards that?
Actually, one way or the other, because during my days in courts, I was able to meet one of my friends that have been called to bar. And we're in UNAT together, whereas he is now a lawyer. So we met in one of my courts. I was able to reach out to the aspirant I worked for. Immediately, the aspirant had, what's the nature of the case? He had his robbery. The aspirant said, "Oh, I don't think I'll be able to do anything about this." I didn't mean it's a murder case. I can still, because it can happen by mistake. Maybe you quarrel with somebody, but robbery. It's going to dent my political name because they are going to say I'm a godfather to armed robbers. So I'm sorry. I won't be able to do anything. But if you need any financial assistance, you can get back to me. And immediately I told that my friend, I said, "No, don't worry. Don't go back to him. Because that's what he could do." So I left that. Then those
but that's a crime, getting you people guns that were not registered and all of that. So has he been able to go away from that?
There are a lot of things in fact, there are some people that, whenever during election, it is not all police officers you see that are police.
Tell me about it.
There are arranged police that are political talk. They are not police, and they will put on police uniform. So when you see them with their rifle, you believe this is an officer. They are not officers.
Did they give you people uniforms like that?
I didn't use uniform, but I know those that use uniform because then I was still very young. So
how old were you then?
I think then I was 23 years old.
Then you became a political talk.
Yes.
I was this guy, and he still uses political talk. So this aspirant.
They still use. I believe that's Nigerian system. That's Nigerian because even after my release,
you guys had to
I've been approached.
Oh,
after my release, I've been approached
to come again.
Yes, I've been approached by a friend, not the same line, but another channel that knew my story. I've been approached to come. I said no. I said it's my old days. I don't want to go back to it, and that's one of the reasons why I wasn't happy with some people that are supposed to be an agent to reformation. There was a group that called me for a Lego week in Ondo State. They promised to support me in reproducing my book. I'll show you the flyers. In fact, it was a very big program that they lodged me in a 5-star hotel. So this is the flyer of the program. Last year in Akure. I was there. This is my picture. Those are the people invited. I was there to speak on recidivism, how inmate comes out and what took them back by and by. So they promised me, because then I remember that one of my points when I was talking, I told them that I'm surprised Nigeria will be complaining that there is hunger, there is no food, we import all our food. I said, but there are humanitarian resources behind bar.
Sure.
Inmates are just there doing nothing. And whereby, whenever you are traveling from Lagos to Abuja, you will see green lands. You will see them there, not used for anything. I said, I believe if the government just decide to go into mechanized farming and in conjunction using the correctional facility, even if they are going to use an international body to fund it, I said within a couple of 5 to 7 years, the country will be basking with a lot of food. We won't sell to other countries. I said, yeah, inmates. At least I remember there was a time while I was there when they made mention of the numbers of inmates in Nigeria. At least we are over 100,000 inmates, both awaiting trials. And at the end of the day, I believe this inmates will also have stipends in an account opens for them through the welfare. By the time they are coming back to the society, they will have something to back on. But I can tell you for free, inmates spend 20 something years in confinement. We come out and go without nothing. Nothing. Just you'll be happy that you are saved. But at the end of the day, nothing to show. So, and this is one of the reasons why they go back to crime, because they believe the families that ought to take care of them, stigmatize them, they are not even caring for them. So at the end of the day, they feel like, it should be IS. When I commit crime, they will take me back to where I'm coming from. So that is one of the reasons why.
So I asked about your friends that are at large.
When I came out, I had they are dead because a lot of people I left outside, even the one that are doing legal thing. I had stories that, this guy is late, this is no longer alive, this had stroke, this. So for the 15 years, those guys that are at large, the two are dead. They are no longer living.
So they went to rob again and they killed them?
Yes, they killed them at the spot. In fact, one went for kidnapping. He was shot at the spot and died at the spot. So, and
the other one
went for robbery.
Robbery and was killed.
So he was killed.
So do you think you being arrested was God having a way to save your life and keep you?
The Bible says, is the child the father loves, he chastise. I believe that if I have made away with what I went for, I would have believed, this is a good road for me, and I want to now sit down and empower myself. Maybe that would have become another Anini, and at the end of the day, I would have ended my life in a miserable way. But God just felt, no, this is not my plan for you. No. That's not the way. And that was how I was apprehended.
Let's talk about your mental health. You're on death row for 5 years. Do you still have nightmares? Do you still wake up and feel that you can be killed today? And do you still have, a kind of feeling that, you ought not to be alive, that this was me, a condemned man?
Actually, I don't have those dreams because while I was on death row, the only thing you always see in my face is smiles. In fact, an officer in charge came in and we had to visit him as a group of leaders on death row. We had to visit him and welcome him to the facility because that's our usual way whenever they bring in a new officer in charge. So when we got there, we introduced ourselves. Then I now introduced myself that I'm the provost of death row. He said, he shouted, you? Said, no. So whenever he sees me, he usually sees me about a few days that he has spent with us. I usually believe maybe I'm an EFCC inmate. It does not show in my face that I'm on death row. He usually sees me with smile because immediately I entered into that place, I handed over everything to God. I said, God, this is my life. Because anything that is beyond me, I believe that I cannot help myself. So I said, God, take, it's in your hand. Whatever you like, do with it. If I'm going to come out, you are the decider. And if it is the other way around, you are the decider. So I freed myself. So I'm always an happy man. I'm always smiling. In fact, maybe that's one of the reasons why the man that chose me to be the leader chose me to be the leader. Because no matter what, you never see me sit down and be thinking, because I put myself on routine, on exercise routine. I have my days of jog. I have my days of exercise. I do exercises. I go to school. Whenever the man sees me, he sees me doing one thing or the other. So before coming out, my mental brain is free because I visited a psychologist, a clinical psychologist when I came out. And she asked me a lot of questions. She is one of the people that comes in to do all these NGO programs, reformative programs. So when I came, I contacted her and she invited me to her office. She asked me some questions and immediately I answered those questions. At the end of the day, she said, you don't need any therapy. You should even be working with us to do therapy for others that needs it. She said, the way I've seen you with all the questions that I've asked you, you are mentally okay, that you are mentally balanced. You don't need any therapy at all. And that was that part. So I never dreamed, because even while I was there, I usually dream, my dream comes once in a while, because before I was sentenced, I dreamt it. And I told one of my officers while I was awaiting trial, I woke him up, my IG, I woke him up in the night. I said, come, I said, this journey that I am, I said, they are not going to discharge me. I said, I'm going to get to the truth. He said, why? I said, I just had a dream now. There used to be one of my officers that used to be my AIG. He has been sentenced to death and he has been transferred. So I dreamt I saw him. So immediately I saw him. I mentioned his name and I woke up. So immediately I woke up, because whenever I dream, God used to help me in interpretation. When others dream as well, they come to me. I said, that dream shows that I'm going to get to the truth. And the same day that I was transferred to that place, that dream came like a replay. The same person that I saw in that dream, I saw him, and I saw him in the location. The same building I saw in the dream was the same building I saw in reality. And I told my colleague, I said, it's like I've seen this thing before. And that's when it was dawned on me that there are some things that we usually see that happens to us in life. And it's like, this thing has happened before, like a replay. That was when I discovered that life itself has been recorded. It's just like we are all actors and actresses. We are just playing the role. So I said, I saw this in my dream. I saw this coming. The guy said, no, don't say negative thing against yourself. Approvals. Let us pray. We are not going to go to that row. So, but I've seen it. So already when it came, so it was no longer a surprise to me. But the only thing is that I just felt I had to make restitution with God, with my maker, that God, I know I have wronged.
When you were political talk, did you guys kill anybody, hurt anybody?
At instances, why I said we had levels, because with my age, the level they were using me for is to disrupt election wherever opposition is leading.
Okay.
Because we used to be there as party agents. We had different party tags.
Okay.
Your own party, we still have a tag of another party. So you are in the same group. So we'll be there as polling delegates from representing our party. So whenever they are counting votes and we discover that in that polling unit, our own vote is low, the next thing we'll go to where we keep our arms and we'll disrupt it. What we usually does then is snatching the ballot box. That's what we hold first. So we'll take it to a nearby location where our people has been situated. Then we'll now start doing our own thumb printing, doing our own votes, putting the one that were there that was not favoring our party, we remove them.
Did you have to shoot in the air when you do that?
While we were taking it, there will be shots in the air to scare the INEC officials, and we take the ballot boxes away and we'll do our things. There is a way we return it.
How do you return it?
When we've done all those voting and all that, then we'll come back to the INEC officials and threaten them. Because we will still be at the final collating center. And that's where that place used to be a battleground. All political talks are there, every corner. So we'll tell them, if you like, get to the collating center and tell them that this is what we have done. So you pay with your life. We don't care. Anything that will happen, will happen. So we have other categories of political talk that are operating on a higher level. So, but our own is on the election field.
You just snatch people's mandate.
Snatch the mandate. And
how can we prevent that?
I think I sat down one day and I was thinking, the way I met it when I see, because there are some elections that they've done when I came, because I didn't even bother to, because I don't want to have anything to do with anything election. I didn't even bother to go for voters registration. So, because I see it the way, what the solution is electronic voting and getting the results at that unit, not going to collating center. Immediately they are doing that electronic voting.
So once they go to collating center, you thoughts can go there and disrupt and
yes, because the paper votes, there can be pandemonium everywhere. And even while the chasing is going, other people are also trying to do their own things as well. Other parties too, because there will be tussle. There have been instances where shots has to come from the opposition party and our own party, and there was a particular scenario that happened that bullet touched a women party leader, touched her in the breast. They had to go and amputate the breast of that woman. Then it happened in Idosi.
As at that time, do you people have like an association of political talks where you meet and you work for different parties that bring in the highest money?
No.
So it's one person.
We are dedicated to the party we are working for. We are dedicated because then the party is trying to take over from the ruling party.
Okay. So, but in a case where you have a case where the ruling party gives you higher money, it's going to be the higher.
That is the purpose of the oaths.
Oh.
So the oath
how much did they pay you after this oath and all of that too?
I remember then the highest money they will pay us, because they pay us. We are in group at times. I remember them because we have a name to our association. Then there's a name we call ourselves. We even have a bus, a utility van, and that van is constructed in a way that we have a place where we hide arms in the vehicle, that even when police stop us and search, they won't see it. So whenever they want to pay us, they pay the group leader. They'll pay the group leader. They might give the group leader like 5 million for all your boys. And at the end of the day, the group leader too, as the leader, will just cut. I think the highest money, 2010, the highest money I was given was 50,000 naira.
To snort ballot boxes.
Yes, during all those processes. So at the end of the day, they will tell us that they have to settle some other party leaders.
To carry gun and to snort ballot boxes, it was just 50,000.
But the hotels that will lodge, the logistics and everything.
Did they give you a yeta or something?
They gives. They gives. In fact, they took us. At a time I had to. They took us to a place in Warri. They spent a lot of money on champs, politics. So they took us to a place in Warri where, after the man has given us all the initiation, because I remember then we were 21 that went there, but those of us that could stay and collect it, we are just about 13 in number, because the man used the longest needle to do the incision on us. But some people said they can't withstand it. Somebody that was ahead of me, when he saw it, he said, no. He said, he can't. I came out. I said, Baba, I said, I'm ready. I said, do it. So when the man did, he said, you this small boy, you get mine though. So immediately while we were going out, because it's like a creek, while we were coming out of the place, I just had sand and something peppering me like heavy downpour of rain. So I now shouted, Baba, why do you shoot us now? The rest of the people, why do you shoot us? He said he has to test what he has done. And I sure. I said, Baba, what if the thing now enter? He said, forget it. He said it won't enter. He said he's sure of what he's doing. So whenever they are testing like that, it's unknown. They don't tell you.
So they just shoot you after
They don't tell you. They don't.
Are you sure you saw him with a gun and shot at you?
They don't tell you. It is from behind. I had the sand. I know it's a gun. And what touches me carries weight. I know that because he asked, how did you feel? Is it pepperish? Is it?
And you didn't see any blood signs?
No. I just felt like when rain is heavy, the weight. That's how I felt. I said,
I just explained to him that this.
Were you ever shot at, because that's the Baba shooting is different. Were you ever shot at the battlefront?
Yes.
And it never entered?
Yes, it has happened. In fact, we usually have the one we use that lasted for 24 hours.
We have some of the charms we use that we just get leaf, alligator pepper. You'll be chewing it and you use alt. So while you are chewing it, they are giving you some incantations. You'll be repeating after the person. We usually use that for the singlet we are wearing under our shirts. So once after you say all those incantations, then you will spit it on your singlet. Then you button up. So that will last for 24 hours. Aside from the incisions, aside from the one we've eaten. So that one is also, because you don't rely on one protection. So you use different source of protection because one might fail. Because the person coming for you also has his charms from another source. So Yoruba will say, Ogungun, that it goes far. So where you are researching, somebody else is also researching to spoil what you are using. So that's why they give us different one. Who collect from Southwest here. They will take us to Delta. They are taking us around to take different.
How many incisions did you take?
I can't count it too. There is one, they call it belts. There is one is belt, is being around the waist. There is one on the middle of the head. There are different. I can't even count because that exposed me to a lot of things politically. And that was when I discovered the reality of the world. Politics is a dirty game. That's why a lot of Christians don't want to, a lot of faithful Muslims don't want to go into politics because you have to do some things that are against your decision that you don't want to do. So that's just it.
All those charms now have been nullified by the power of God.
I came out because there was an altar call. Pastor Adeboye came visiting. And he made mention of anybody who is having incision on him and all that. I came out, and even in the church where I was attending now, whenever I had any message that is related to incision or you have eaten any concussion, I will come out. So that has been nullified. I'm no longer that person.
So you're an evangelist now. You do a lot of prison ministry.
Yes, I even in my church, there is an outreach that we usually do. We go to Penn Cinema. My GO will tell us to scout for all those boys that are sleeping under the bridge, that are homeless. We'll take some of them, we take them to our church, be mentoring them. Even some of them does not even have NIN. They don't have BVN. Our GO will sponsor all that, do the NIN, do the BVN, open a bank account, then look for a job. So most of them, they work in a expression in Agege. They're very close to our church. So about 14, the last one we did was about 14 of them that were employed at expression. So they work, that was where they will be saving money. Some of them will now decide to go back to their family in the process because some of them ran away from home when they've done something wrong. So they open up to the GO, and the GO is a woman. I don't know, maybe I'm allowed to mention the big church first, Abundant Life Gospel Church in Agege. So, in fact, the woman is really, really, really devoted and channel and energy in changing lives of, and most of these boys, they use drugs or these Colorado, all these things. So she still sit down and mentor them, preach to them. In the first 3 months when it comes into the facility, they talk to them, and at the end of the day, gradually, this guy drops this thing. Though while we're still mentoring them, they still take, but
gradually,
as time goes on, some of them will just come openly. Mommy, I took this thing yesterday. Then she will tell them, whenever you have the urge of taking this thing, get a water, pray to the water and drink that water. You can buy biscuits, buy something that will work for your body. Don't go for it. So gradually, most of them are back to their family now. There are some of them that we still have about 2 of them. One of them is even a drummer that is in the choir in the church. And one of them is presently learning plumbing. So we had just two of them left, and it has been something that I find joy whenever I'm doing it. And most times when I'm not around to do it, I'm not happy that something is missing in me. So I'm always happy whenever I'm around there.
Well, we'll continue to support your work, and we have your contact details. If you want to reach out to Muyiwa, if you send us a mail or get across to us, definitely we would like to, help you reach across to Muyiwa and support him. Muyiwa, I pray God will continue to bless you.
Amen.
And keep his face and favor over you. And this reason why he's kept you alive, he will fulfill purpose and destiny. In the mighty name of Jesus.
Amen.
And thank you so much. I mean, this has been an inspiring session right here on the Rufai Oseni podcast and the Never Media Network. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
God bless you. God bless you guys. That's about all we can take on this edition. Thank you so much. God bless you. And thanks for watching.
It's a crisis of development.
A crisis of development.
It's fundamentally. There is a debt alcoholism.
Alcoholism.
It's this idea that we gotta borrow, we gotta keep borrowing.
Yeah.
Borrow. If they can't deliver goods, they deliver violence, which is the supervision, surveillance, and control. If you look at the South African township economy now, $1 trillion. Let me give you a miracle sense of what happens here. The bulk of that economy is not controlled by black people.
They're threatening ShopRite.
Yes, and so it is those sort of, so our people end up fighting battles for somebody else. And the era of Zimbabwe is likely to repeat itself in South Africa.
I'm going to begin with a simple question. As a prominent Zimbabwean scholar, as a unit, or an object rather, of analysis, of critique, of thinking, where and how do we describe Zimbabwe today?
Okay. Well, it's a crisis of development.
A crisis of development.
It's fundamentally.
That is the name of Zimbabwe today.
It's a crisis of development. I think that, of course, leadership failures and institutional failures characterize it. But even if these institutions were functioning optimally, there would still be a fundamental crisis. The system of constructing the state created 4 fundamentals. Number 1, the bifurcation of the economy, where you created an economy for Africans. You put them in these tribal trust lands, an economy for the white industrial class, the white agricultural class. The second thing that it created was division. You created cantonments. The tribal trust land created false rigidities in identities which had been fluid. So the social cohesion problem is a problem constructed deliberately as part of the divide and conquer tactic. And what's tragic is we as Africans embraced it more tenaciously than we embraced religion. The third was in the creation of the skills, there were particular skills that were designated as exclusively for black people and others for white people. The independent state tried to address the poverty problem, but did not focus on the collective wealth creation problem. And of course, over the years, instinctively, there was an attempt through the land reform process to move towards a wealth creation model.
Collective wealth.
Collective wealth. And it's important to think about the collective wealth question, because a lot of independent African countries found this enormous poverty problem. And the enormity of the poverty problem essentially meant that you diverted most of the state resources to try and deal with a problem deliberately constructed by the colonial state. Because the poor and dependent black is a convenient to both the black and white elite, because they always need the patronage of the state. But a hollowed out state is a convenience for international capital, because it always needs international capital for its survival. So if you think about those who are running the state as purely managing it, the only thing they really have power to manage is the collective of the immiserated and impoverished. So, and they have one instrument of management. If they can't deliver goods, they deliver violence, which is the supervision, surveillance, and control, which is, if you think about it, whether it was the Rhodesian state, the apartheid state, this idea that the fundamental preoccupation of the state was supervision, surveillance, and control. So in essence, you have a leadership that at the beginning had some form of vision of development, but had not sufficiently studied the state and built a coherent vision of how to transform the state for purposes of achieving development. So they concentrated on controlling the coercive apparatus of the state intelligence, the army, the police. And so the carnage you see in Matabeleland, the genocidal Gugraundi during the 1980s, is an instinctive reaction to a sense of threat to power, but choreographed, as you know, by Rhodesian intelligence operatives, playing on what they understood. Multiple dependencies of blacks, dependence on local white capital, because the vision of how to transform the capital base, the ownership of the factories, ownership of land, of the mines, and etc., is a vision that goes beyond slogans. These are systems that have both local roots, regional roots, and international roots. So if you're going to do the transformation, you will need to form alliances across classes, and the whites knew what to do. You conscript middle-class blacks, you conscript part of the aspirational elites. Why? Once they own crumbs of the empire, they have a stake in defending the empire that they see as the sole beneficiary against this mass uprising or against any disruptive force. So let me give you some interesting things. Within agriculture, you have the equivalent, and it has happened in this beautiful country in South Africa. The big corporates, supermarkets and others, went and concluded lockout contracts with the primary producers, which means they cannot give a lower price to anybody else than the price they are offering the corporate buyer. In essence, that excludes competition. If you and I form a business, we want to get into the business for the same commodity, we're essentially muscled out. The understanding of the system, the capitalist system that was operational then, and how it was built around kinsfolk, patronage, corruption, and an anti-black racist or white supremacist notion, makes people think that it's simple. Just remove the one person, you will have solved it. So why did I call it a crisis of development? The model of development that we wanted was a model that we called Gutsarujinji in Shona, satisfy the masses. Now, the social component was clear, and Mugabe did well on this, which is diagnose what you need in terms of human capabilities. Manpower, as they used to call it. It wasn't the gender equitable world that we live in now. The manpower development plan was very precise. How many doctors will we need? How many pharmacists? In fact, unmatched in most of the continent and the developing world. So they went about developing these skills.
Mm-hmm.
But what you needed to do, so if you think about it, we trained the highest number of artisans. That's why whether you're in Angola, you are here, you are in Ghana, you're likely when you turn around and you are looking for a motor mechanic, A1, or you are looking for, it'll be a Zimbabwean, electrician. And it didn't start because of the exodus. It started because we now have excess capacity and minimum absorptive possibilities because the economy hasn't transferred into the hands of black folks. Why? Because we got the social component correct. But the redistributional aspects, even the blacks within government were resistant because they now were proximate to white capital, both domestic and international. And they had, if you like, they had become the biggest defenders of what they saw as the stability. And defending that stability essentially meant postponing black aspirations. Here's a tragedy. It is at the moment, soon after, within that decade, as you know, we go through this fall of the Berlin Wall, the Iron Curtain, and etc. So the doctrine of lean state, hollowing out the state, becomes operational. Balance of payment support problems for the Zimbabwean government, which at the beginning, you may have dissent from what I was saying. It had two options. Do you level up in terms of development, try and bring everyone else to the standard that the white Rhodesians, who are living better than most Hollywood A-listers, right? Or do you level down? to try and do a massification. They chose an ambivalent position. A few elites leveled up, and there was no leveling down. So the privilege accumulated by the whites was not redistributed or distributed in the first instance. So when you now have structural adjustment programs, what had happened with the black elite who came from the war expecting to preside over a state they had liberated through blood is that they got absorbed in civil service jobs. And immediately within 10 years, they were laid redundant as is part of the thinning out the state. Yeah. They are laid redundant. The state instinctively adjusts urban bylaws to permit for vending. So vending stalls start appearing. Remember, the colonial legislation had been structured around this criminalization of native existence or black existence. That if you were seen, you and I were seen with 3 of our friends somewhere in this place, we would be called vagrants, or we would be accused of loitering with intent to rob. And if you were women, loitering for the purposes of prostitution. So the laws were created to create this sanitized version of development that criminalized and prohibited freedom of movement by black people in their own country. So now when you do this redundancies, you now have to adjust the bylaws. When you adjust bylaws, you have not changed the municipal police mentality. So in Harare in the 1980s, you'd see these running battles between the municipal police and ordinary vendors. The state was not creating or adapting to a new form of capital accumulation that would have enabled the now redundant workers to form a collective to negotiate the supply chains in their country. So the supply chains remained the way they had been before. So this mass of black people started, of course, looking for greener pastures elsewhere. But this mass of people also became restless and anti-establishment. Now, for people who liberated the country through so much pain, they didn't understand why these people were so ungrateful. But who were these ingrates they were unhappy with? They were former combatants, former collaborators, and their children, right? You could send people to get degrees, and a splendid performance. And there was no absorptive capacity, because what started happening, the small white minority population would send their children here to Cape Town, to New Zealand, and etc. Maintain rules by which you bypass. They come back to be bosses of even some of your best. The state's preoccupation with the rhetorical freedom essentially meant it took long to deal with economic restructuring questions. Land is only one of the dimensions. Let me give you another one. Procurement regulations. The procurement regulations for a black population which had been prohibited from owning a significant stake in the economy still required you to demonstrate 10 years, 15 years of experience in a particular. Obviously, you wouldn't have. So you ended up with black people seeking the patronage of white companies. You see this a lot in South Africa, right? In order to get any potential to get a tender. Or the obtuse happened. Corruption. Right? You don't adjust the regulations, you simply corruptly award a tender to people. This corruption is created by a failure to adjust to the reality of what will it take to build collective black wealth.
Let me challenge this proposition a little bit for purposes of seeking its complication. If Zimbabwe ought to be read in the terms you have put, the failure of seemingly the post-independence political leadership to disarticulate separate development and bring about this collective wealth you're speaking of, and I want to juxtapose Africa's post-developmental path. We'll come back, keeping Zimbabwe in mind, with post-war Europe. What many people don't want to admit is the privilege with which, upon the end of World War II, there was unmitigated capital investment.
Like the Marshall Plan.
In essence, the Marshall Plan. So it didn't quite matter, the strength or weaknesses of political. That's why we don't even know majority of the political elites. They were not facing situations, whether they were choosing neoliberal industrial path or they were choosing state developmental path. In the main, they had money to restart their economies. So it doesn't matter quite in the end whether Mugabe's choice was going to be an insistence on state-led development, massive state, avoid neoliberal restructuring, privatization, corporatization, all that language of the early 1990s in light of globalization. But in the end, it didn't matter what he did. There was no capital investment in the same way as, for instance, post-war England, post-war France or Paris, post-war Germany, and all of that. They had, as Europe, the West, which means the United States and Canada and all of them, just went and gave them money to develop.
But here is the difference. It is correct that capital would have made some difference. It's not only capital that developed Germany. If you remember, during the moment of the Marshall Plan, you look at the three visions that they came up with. And remember, I said we got the social component correct. And the reason why we didn't, Rhodesia or Zimbabwe is by far, per capita, if you look at the number of human beings that live in that country and the wealth that the country has, you can't even compare it to a Germany in terms of just the wealth that's resident in the country, right? Zimbabwe is, we call it...
I don't get that. Per capita income in Zimbabwe
not per capita,
was higher.
Much higher.
At which decade?
In 1980.
In 1980.
To 1987. Much higher.
Yes, yeah.
Much higher.
Rhodesia.
No. That's now Zimbabwe.
Okay.
Much higher. In fact, here's the other thing. The reason why the first order business is to structuring yourself so that you can use whatever capital is at your disposal to develop. Let me give you a sense. Until we took the land, many people have a misnomer, especially in the rest of Africa, that Mugabe took land and then Zimbabwean stuff. No. The white commercial farmers did not produce the food we ate. It's a documented studies. The peasant farmer, Zimbabwean farmer, on semi-arid land, produced more than 78% of the food for domestic consumption.
Agreed.
Right. So when I said to you that the government had two options, level up or level down, there were betrayals. Let's call the betrayals what they were. There was a promise in Lancaster House. First, it was 1.5 billion. It was raised through the Kissinger intervention, 2.5 billion for land reform. Right? That money never came because it was not included except as an addendum in the Lancaster House agreement. Were there policy interventions that actually might have addressed some of the endemic challenges we have? That's what I'm suggesting to you. There were. And the political class made a choice. We had this agreement that we entered into at Lancaster. That number one, you would have this 20 minority white seats. And then in the first 10 years, you wouldn't do any land reform. Right? And as you know, land reform didn't start until almost 2000, right? In the 10-year period, there was absolutely no reason why it didn't happen. As a student, myself, Raymond Majongwe, and others, we demonstrated saying, look, comrades, you if you don't do land reform now, by the time you do it, it'll be too late. And I'll tell you what was happening at the time. There was capital being brought in, but to build white elephant projects. Right?
But how much of capital?
No. The how much question. So capital.
We have to really
Your first
break that question of what is capital.
But your proposition needs to escape the error that I see a lot in when we're talking to black intellectuals. Volume is not the determinant of the progress you make with capital investment, right? Although volume matters. So there is a sense that we need a lot so that we do mega things. What Zimbabwe needed was to build. So if you look at the models, everybody looks at the mega China now. But China started with building from cottage industry to the meat production cycle, right? Because massification of production, massification of wealth creation is what actually creates the resilience in the long term. So if I give you capital, you build Lenin style, big industrial. If you take the Soviet Union, because you talked about the rest of Europe, you didn't talk about the Soviet Union. Lenin's approach, big industrial.
Because I didn't consider it as, right? No, they were not beneficiaries of the marshal.
No, but they made huge capital investment into industrial development, right? Take a different model. Two different models. Singapore is different from South Korea. South Korea, to this day, is the biggest recipient of U.S. ODA, right? Which were concessional loans, right? If Zimbabwe had gotten the Marshall Plan, we still would have had one challenge. And that challenge is the political elite assumes building a big factory somewhere, building big infrastructure somewhere, answers the problem. I'm saying to you, no, it doesn't. If with the capital that we have, between macro and meso infrastructure, macro and meso production sites, the country would have been in a totally different place than it is now. Let me give you what is the problem at the moment. The social indices are a problem in that rural Zimbabwe has not developed in 40 years, right? And 62% of the SADC. Did you have a base? Of course. What the Rhodesian state had done under sanctions was to focus on internal manufacturing, right? Which was import substitution model that they had, right? So we had a base. I want you to look carefully when you've had time at the acquisitions by our own business people and deliberate running down of some of those productive entities. Not because they lacked
deliberate running down.
Deliberate. Shoe manufacturing. From G&D shoes to, we had some of the best shoe manufacturing entities. Now, and the people who were working there were not white. They were black. These were the people who were then made redundant. And what I'm suggesting to you radically say is that a development model that will work, at least for this region, right, where a good part of the population is in peri-urban or rural area, and I take it through education systems like sausages, right, would be to stimulate township economies. If you look at the South African township economy now, $1 trillion. Let me give you a miracle sense of what happens here. The bulk of that economy is not controlled by black people. Right?
I have big problems understanding what township economy.
Okay, so let me give you a sense.
No. I don't know what.
No. Let me give you a sense. The biggest mobile phone companies in the world or on the continent don't make money from people like you and I. You don't buy scratch cards because you have Wi-Fi in your house. Who buys scratch cards? It's the poor person in the township. It's that there is a whole politics around manufacturing the scratch cards, right? There is an entire economy around who manufactures the scratch cards and who actually gets to retail. And what do they get for retailing? That's just for mobile telephony, food supplies. Okay? The bulk of the people working in agriculture were black people, right? Who is supplying food to the spazas? Who's in Zimbabwe and in South Africa? No, it's not the people who are producing the food there. It's routed through somebody else, a SPA or somebody who then supplies. So that if you quantify the volume of money that poor people spend nourishing rich people, and you ask yourself, could we change this model and actually keep this money in the hands of the people as a collective, right? So there are many models, as you know, that are being tried, from cooperatives to and etc. And then you look at the discrimination against those same people who are still buying from these guys. Here, your stockfellas produce annual savings 50 billion rands. If you want to go and borrow from the bank, they don't treat a stockfell. They don't treat they would a company. In fact, you and I going with a paycheck from someone would get higher financial flexibility from the bank than folks who have more money than you and I, but that are in a collective. So what I'm suggesting to you is that an adjustment in the regulations from procurement to insurance to pensions would have unlocked capital. We continued to invest a lot of our pensions in the US and in the UK. And who was paying pension? Who were the people paying pension? Who were the majority of the people paying? It was our people. So what I'm suggesting to you is, yes, external capital, concessional loans, very important. But when those are not forthcoming, what can you do if you're thinking about collective wealth creation to unlock the wealth potential that you have? And the era of Zimbabwe is likely to repeat itself in South Africa. I'll tell you why. As long as we don't pay attention, which is China took a different path, as did India. They paid attention to what, because there was hostility. And they knew nobody would give them enough capital to develop to exit the dependence. So that what they needed was a blend of what you can get by way of concessional loans, but also the investments in innovation, Dr. Lotz. Nobody's going to give you enough money. In fact, a lot of those concessional loans, the difference was Germany got actually money to invest in innovation, right? A site of experiment, as did South Korea, but nobody else has gotten that kind of money. Because
But Africa hasn't received that kind of a deal. This is a fact.
But do they, let me ask you a question. Can we unlock within Africa our own capital? Never mind what people like President Mbeki have identified, money we lose through illicit outflows and etc. I'm giving you a sense. This country has massive pension amounts that are building fancy buildings, right? That are not building anything significant to employ the sons and the daughters of the pension.
Certainly, the South African situation strikes in those terms very differently. There is a lot of money, South African money, that is put in South African banks not being invested. I'm trying to understand.
But this was the
developmental crisis that you were describing in Zim.
But Zimbabwe, a lot of you judge Zimbabwe only now. The Zimbabwe pre-1991, for both per capita to wealth, what we're producing as gross national income is performing much better than South Africa within the same period of 10 years within liberation. So the Zimbabwe we are judging now is not the same Zimbabwe.
Absolutely.
So we had a
and
lot
you are
of
saying the crisis was the failure to unlock local capital, but also to invest it in such a way that empowered economic activities of peri-urban and rural.
Develop, if you like, if you take a capitalist lens, develop micro enterprise in the rural areas. So Zimbabwe had a plan since 1958, refined by the liberation parties. If you look at the development plans of both ZANU and ZAPU, right? The development plans were very clear. If you develop on and off farm storage, right, you were likely to unlock further wealth for the producer. Remember what the producer's problem was? Access to the market. What structural adjustment did, how did we access the market? Grain Marketing Board, Minerals Marketing Board, and etc. So when we're disbanding the SOEs, the state-owned enterprises, we disbanded the enabling statutory bodies. When you disband the enabling statutory bodies, you have to invest something. Otherwise, what happens, the local producer in the rural area is not able to access the market, right? And the investment on off-farm storage, warehousing, is not that big. And you know why I say this rather without dismissing the importance of external concessional capital is this. We were buying fancy cars, 3, 4, 5 cars for ministers, right? And for me, we're still doing it now, right? We're handing out vehicles, fine. But if you think about 2 vehicles could build off-farm storage, could get refrigerated trucks to get goods from rural areas to the market, could do warehousing, could do an agricultural exchange market, and could do thousands of things. This is not money we don't have. I'm talking about the money we have that we choose within the political class to spend. And I don't want to be simplistic and suggest that they should not have cars at all and etc. No, I simply want to suggest that priorities do matter when you are constrained. And priorities do matter if you choose a development paradigm that's opposed by people who would ordinarily give you capital. So you have to say, I'm against this, and there'll be some consequences. And in the place I've placed myself in, I have to be adaptive and look at changing the model of accumulation, the model of distribution and redistribution within the economy.
Let me take you then to the immediate point, which is a similar experience, not just in Zim, but this African crisis of indebtedness. If you look at the debt and you're thinking, what is the debt doing? Over the many, many decades, in some instances, in some countries, is beyond 1980s, it will be the 1970s and all of that. What is your, I'm obviously suspecting where you will go, but what is your reading of the debt crisis across the continent?
It baffles me, but because I have a sense of what the structure is. Number one, we started using short-term instruments of borrowing to invest in long-term things like infrastructure. They were necessary in some instances, but infrastructure does not give you an immediate return. So if you take an instrument, a 5-year instrument, that has high interest rates, it's a short-term borrowing instrument. What you need is long-term capital, whose maturation is long-term.
Which is interest-free, no interest.
No.
The Marshall Plan, there was no interest.
Low interest.
Yeah.
Or even low interest.
Yes.
So that's when there's been bona fides, there's been good faith, where we've borrowed and you actually can see the infrastructure. The idea was that you would borrow, and I call it a Eurocentric perspective. You would borrow and then build a big road, put tolls, and then ask ordinary Zimbabweans or South Africans to pay tolls. Of course, this is always going to be. For you to make up the money that's required to pay back that loan, you keep raising these tolls. But the wages are not rising. So that's one, the short-term borrowing instrument. The second is, do you know we borrowed a lot more money in the last 10 years for weapons, for military security-related weapons, including police-related stuff, tear gas and something, than we did for education and healthcare. So countries that actually don't have dialysis machines, CAT scans, borrowed to buy fancy fighter jets and drones, right? So this borrowing for the coercive, and we don't have interstate wars, but borrowing for security, for
most wars are essentially civil.
Yes, so the regime stability related borrowing. The third is, I think we must call it what it is, diversion of that borrowed money. So you would come to a country like Senegal, where now they have something called a hidden debt. What is a hidden debt? That money was borrowed, so clearly if it is a hidden debt, that means it wasn't applied to me, right? It would have been misappropriated. But the new government comes in and discovers that the debt, the register they were using is inaccurate. There's a lot more money. And you remember the Mozambican case involving where Credit Suisse forced Mozambique to take a loan they didn't need. So the private lenders' debt has shot up. The multilateral debt situation is such that I think the multilateral institutions always treat Africa unfairly. In part, the lenders, both private lenders and MDBs, lend to Africa on the basis of risk perception. Now, this whether it's Standard & Poor's or so on and so forth. If something happens in Zimbabwe, they'll say, "Oh, there's a risk generally, the risk contagion, right? It's almost something happened in Africa, so Africa risk profile is X."
Yes.
Why is risk profile important? It means a European country or Southeast Asian country going to borrow will borrow maybe at 4% or 3%. You, because of your risk profile, you borrow at 12%, the same amount of money. So that essentially means your repayments are much higher. So clearly you will never catch up as long as that is not dealt with. So there's an international debt governance crisis. And the other interesting thing, the private lenders are not within the common debt governance frameworks. And then there's the domestic governance problem. Why do you end up in some countries with hidden debt? Not all debt procured by governments goes through parliamentary oversight. So what has ended up happening is a head of state or his wife or someone visits a country. We actually see them on TV signing deals. But those deals are not paid by their children. Those deals are paid by the workers, the taxpayers. They'll be paid by future generations. So in essence, fiscal indiscipline and sometimes the creation of fiefdoms where people are told they need things that they don't and there is no technical backup. I mean, what's curious now is we're borrowing to build ports and develop certain entities for the benefit of extraction of natural resources. And in essence, I wonder whether the problem is we're not bringing enough people with expertise to advise our governments. I was invited once to China by the ambassadors in Beijing to come and talk about the experience, Africa and the eighth FOCAC. And I said, and then at the time talking to them before my presentation, many of them were not consulted before their governments. Actually, people came from the capital. They didn't talk to the expert in Beijing, and they proceeded to sign things that were in Mandarin. So they didn't fully read the text, not the interest, not the dispute settlement, nothing. There is a debt alcoholism.
Alcoholism.
It's this idea that we got to borrow, we got to keep borrowing, borrow. And because